Hello, this is Jeff from Baron Leathercraft, and today we are going to take a look at the Algolaser MK3. The MK3 is a 15-watt diode laser kit, which means there is a little assembly required. I actually recorded the entire build process, but after putting it together, I realized it's so simple that it's really not worth spending your time on. So instead, let's just jump right into using the machine. Depending on the packet you chose, it may come with an aluminum slotted bed. It supports your material while allowing plenty of airflow underneath, which is especially helpful when cutting. Another option is a traditional honeycomb bed. I've actually been using one for quite a while, and I prefer it because it's made of steel, so I can use magnets to keep my material from shifting during the job. One of the things that really sets the MK3 apart is that you don't actually need a computer to operate it. So let's go ahead and start off by doing an actual project right from the hard drive of the machine. This laser is very easy to focus. It has a built-in focusing arm. Just go ahead and screw it loose, and then drop it, tighten it, lower the module till it reaches the material, and then go ahead and tighten the laser. And after that, go ahead and raise the actual focus arm again by unscrewing it, lifting it, and tightening it again. And then you're done. Okay, we're at the main menu. I'm going to click on Projects, and I'm going to hit the SD card that represents the internal hard drive. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit Images, and then let's scroll down to Halloween. That's always fun, and it's coming soon. Never soon enough. Let's find an image that would be nice. We're going to be engraving this on leather. This pumpkin looks nice. Go ahead and hit the Engrave button. That's going to bring us to the interface where we could choose a lot of different options. Material. First, select the material you're engraving. On this page, you can choose the material of your choice. They have quite a few materials. Once you make your choice, it'll bring you to a page that'll give you a graphic display of your options. If you notice, when you click on each one of them, it changes the speed and power. It's kind of trying to tell you what it's going to look like when you engrave it. Quality. Next is the quality setting, which controls the amount of detail used during the engraving. Higher quality generally produces finer detail but takes longer to complete. This is the laser power, which determines how much energy the laser outputs while engraving. Mode. You'll notice that the mode is set to scan. I didn't actually select this myself. Because this project is engraving rather than cutting, this machine automatically selected the appropriate processing mode. Speed. This controls how fast the laser moves while engraving. Passes. This determines how many times the laser repeats the engraving. Auto parameter. Auto param is a handy feature, especially for beginners. After you select your material, it automatically loads recommended settings for the power, speed, and number of passes. You can always fine-tune these settings manually if you like. Border. This option allows you to engrave a border around the artwork if desired. Processing. Once everything looks good, simply press Processing to bring you to the next menu. Once you hit Processing, it'll bring you to this page. This represents the actual workspace. If you notice, I could move the artwork to anywhere I want on the actual workspace and it will change the coordinates. I could also change the size with the slider as you just saw. Here you can adjust the width and height of the artwork. With the aspect ratio locked, changing one dimension automatically adjusts the other, so the design doesn't become stretched or distorted. Clicking here will actually frame the laser. Alright, we're ready. Let's go ahead and hit start, and it'll bring you to the menu which reveals the information while it's running. The outcome was very nice. It's got a nice chocolate look to it. There's no banding, no smoke, which is nice. I thought it did a very good job. For this test, I went ahead and engraved and cut on 2.6mm basswood. Rather than settling on one setting, I wanted to compare a couple of different engraving speeds and power levels. The sample on the left was engraved at 5,000 millimeters per minute and 80% power, while the one on the right was engraved at 3000 millimeters per minute and 75% power. Both use the same LPI, which was 254. So let's take a deeper look when they're done. Both samples came out very well. Which one you prefer really comes down to personal preference and the look you're after. I was also pleased to see that there was no noticeable banding, and if you want an even cleaner finish, any slight surface discoloration can easily be removed with a very fine sandpaper. I also rotated the wood grain between the two samples, and as you can see, it didn't have any noticeable effect on the engraving quality, although it did change the aesthetic. For this test, I wanted something with a lot of fine detail, so I chose a mandala. It's a good way to see how accurately the laser reproduces intricate lines. This was engraved at 5000 millimeters per minute, 75% power, and 254 LPI. Looking at the finished piece, the fine details are sharp, the lines are consistent, and overall I was very pleased with the results. Here's a little tip if you're engraving dark materials like black slate. The orange laser shield can make the framing laser difficult to see. I temporarily removed the shield and reduced the framing laser power to 0.75, which made it much easier to position the artwork. Once everything was aligned, I simply moved the laser head away, slid the shield back into place, and started the engraving. I think the slate came out really well. The contrast is excellent, and even though this is a very detailed design, the small lines and textures are still crisp and well defined. It's the kind of material that really helps intricate artwork stand out. If you watched any of my laser reviews, you probably heard me say this before. Leather and lasers just go together. It's one of my favorite materials to engrave because it's constantly producing clean, high contrast results. As you can see, the detail came out excellent. The lines are crisp, there's no noticeable banding, and the engraving has a nice rich brown color without excessive charring. Actually, no charring at all. Considering this is a 15-watt laser with a 0.05 by 0.14 millimeter spot size, I thought it did an excellent job reproducing this fine detail. Overall, I was very pleased with the results. Now let's talk about when you should upload an SVG versus a G-code. I ran into this while cutting a pair of earrings. My first attempt was to upload the SVG file directly to MK3. The machine recognized the design just fine, but it didn't preserve the cut order. Instead, it cut the outside profile before the inside details. That's a problem because once the outer profile is cut, the piece is free to move. Even a slight shift can cause the remaining cut to lose focus and become misaligned. The solution turned out to be very simple. In Lightburn, I separated the inside cuts and the outside cuts into different layers and made sure the inside layer was processed first. Then, instead of uploading the SVG, I saved the project as a G-code and uploaded it to the MK3. Since the G-code contained the actual sequence of operations, the machine followed the cut order exactly as it was created in Lightburn, cutting all of the inside features first and the outside profile last. If you're planning to cut projects like earrings or other parts with internal cutouts directly from the machine, this is definitely the workflow I would recommend. Let's go ahead and go over some of the other assets that are built into the AlgoOS operating system right on the machine itself. First of all, you have your control section. You have your motion of your laser. Actually, you can't see the laser moving right now, but it's moving. I'm going to hit home right now. You can change the speeds, many different XY coordinates. That's basically your control center. Now we also have Algo Type. In case you wanted to put quick messages, here double click. Now you could just type anything, hit enter, and then you could change the font size. Yeah, leave it there, that one. And you can change the font to a certain amount. I don't know how many fonts you have. It looks like we have access to 4. There, that one's nice. And then I could hit next. And you could set it up here. Here's all the parameters for printing it. All right, let's move over to Algo Sketch. This is where you could actually draw, and it'll print what you draw. My drawing skills are very limited, but anyone can make a smiley face. Now, for example, if I want to change the pen size, I can go ahead and see how it changed. And it also has an eraser, and you can pick the size of your eraser. And it also has a rake, which just rakes everything apart. Now you could save that if you want to the hard drive within here. Or you could also go ahead, well, let's go ahead and put something back up here. Just something simple. Click on the interface, hit the arrow key, and once again it brings you to the page where you could go ahead and engrave it onto any material you want, by making the same choices that we did before. So, what did I think of the Algolaser MK3? This isn't my first experience with an Algolaser product, but I have to say they've been consistently well designed. The build quality has been solid, they're easy to assemble, and I've had good results with every one I've tested. The standout feature of the MK3 is definitely the onboard operating system. I'm not aware of another diode laser in this price range that offers this level of functionality without requiring a computer. Being able to load artwork, position it on a workpiece, resize it, select your material, adjust the engraving settings, and run the job directly from the machine is something I think a lot of people will appreciate. And I believe this operating system runs in every one of their machines. If you're someone who primarily uses Lightburn, don't worry. You can still take full advantage of everything Lightburn has to offer. As for the engraving quality, I thought the machine performed very well across all the materials I tested. The results were clean, detailed, and consistent. If you do decide to purchase one, I would recommend adding an air assist. While the machine engraves very well without it, an air assist will improve cutting performance, reduce charring, and help produce cleaner edges overall. Overall, I think Algolaser did a very nice job with the MK3. If you're looking for a 15-watt diode laser that can operate either as a standalone machine or with Lightburn, I think this is definitely one worth considering. And thanks again for watching, and of course, be good to each other. We can make this planet an excellent planet. Take care and thanks again.